Yeah, somebody was in and out. They came on and then maybe they'll come back. Actually, that's good because I had a couple people, but it was too late for them to change their.
Is Jerry coming or no?
No, he had another meeting with a community group up there. So this is good.
Okay.
I can send him the recording.
All right. Should we just start without Isha? Let me message her.
Whatever you think.
Hmm.
The way technology is getting hit by everything, who knows?
Yeah, my phone's a mess anymore. All right. Well, let's start. She can join in.
Yes.
I'm Zach. Um, I let's see, where do we start here? So there's a group of 8 of us that have started something called the Way of Being Foundation, and the idea behind it is that we want to act as a hub to start creating the new Earth. And through, hold on one second, I got to shut my door. Hold on. Is to start creating plans for the new Earth and act as a hub for a safe place for people to present their ideas and eventually create a humanitarian foundation. Well, I'm only stuck on one face here.
You have
That
a you have
will.
a camera?
Am I not on camera?
No.
You're not. Hang on,
Oh,
Zach.
that makes sense.
There we
Can you see
Yay!
go.
now?
Here you are, Zach.
Sorry, I
You
thought I
have
was
a
on camera.
face.
So, our ultimate goal is to start bringing people together, right? We've been in a world that is so divided and it's unrecognizable, and I guess that's obviously with the importance of the Hopi prophecies and the rest of the First Nation prophecies that exist. And the thought behind that is that um, I gather it seems as though the Hopi have kind of gone into protection mode or hiding. Michelle might know more about that than I do, but it seems, and I've been talking to a gentleman by the name of Four Arrows who's Lakota, and it seems as though the stories are on the verge of being lost. Right, the younger generation has been a little bit more indoctrinated, and I'm not sure the stories are going to make it that much further. So I think that we, as the elders of the world, have the responsibility to make sure that does not happen, right? And at the same time, I think we uh, are in the new world in need of understanding what the old world teachings are, right? That was one thing that was my problem in life is that when I was 5 years old, I was able to access the Akashic records. And, I'm obviously a white man, and my parents were somewhat religious, but hardly, which was probably a benefit to me. But as I accessed the Akashic records, I was lost, right? Nobody teach me my gifts or my talents or anything. And much of my life I ended up being drunk and on drugs and lost, trying to quiet my mind. Um, so I understand the value of the old teachings, right? And I want to be a bridge to help these stories be told in a respectful manner that will be heard uh, far and wide. I have a relatively large following. Most of them are um, like-minded. They're all around the world. Isha's down in Mexico. You know, I have people all around the world, from Africa to Australia to New Zealand to China to everywhere, right? And what I offer is the ability to hold safe space for people, right? In 2021, my wife and I were going on vacation in Florida, and we sent out a email invitation, Facebook invitation to meet some of my local friends on the beach down there. And what ended up transpiring was something that neither of us saw, and we had about 125 people driving from as far as Maine and Utah, um, for a simple day on the beach to be with each other in the hopes that they could meet their soul family. It ended up being an amazing event. And since then, we've gone 5 years. This year, we had a Stargate activation down in Indian Shores, Florida, on the beach, and it was something that I had been shown since year two, and did not know how it was ever going to pull off. Didn't know if anybody would actually believe that that was our purpose there, and everything lined up this year. And we had two of our board members were there. One is Blackfoot and Chippewa, I think he is, and the other is Cherokee. And they showed up and they did the Stargate activation. It was a powerful event that occurred, and since then, things have seemed to have gone full speed. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Rion DeRuin. He's Team Light out in Sedona. Jim, are you in Sedona?
I am. My place is in Lake Montezuma, which is about
Do
20
you,
minutes.
do, do you know Rion?
Just the name. It's not someone that I've done
Okay,
per.
so Rion has conferences at the what is it, the Creative Life Center.
Yeah.
So he's having one May 8th through the 10th. It's called Rise of the Guardians, and our thoughts are is that we want to start bringing either the Hopi or the Navajo in to help us hold space. And you know, he was looking to have somebody do a dance the first night to open the ceremony or open the conference. And in return, he is willing to give them two or three tables, and then talk about compensation um, for their time. Um, I don't know if that's something that you have access to or suggestions. And then we are having our day of being. We've been pulled out there because you know it's Stargate One is out there, and I believe that we're there to help activate the people that show up there with Stargate One, right? And then we send them home with the activation codes, and hopefully we'll start to spread uh, whatever this is that we're doing, right? I think it's unfolding like a beautiful story. Um, Now, I don't know how you guys could fit in if it's something that interests you. What are your thoughts? I mean, our original goal was to have, because of what's happening in the world, is have one of the prophecies told. I know the Hopis aren't the only ones, but I know that because we're in Sedona, that they're a big part of Sedona, and I know that there's a lot of people that know the Hopi prophecy, and I think that would be an amazing opportunity to have their voices heard again.
Yeah, Michelle, you want to go first or you want me to speak? So, yeah, let's say, first of all, there's a lot of groups out there doing pretty much exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
My nonprofit's been in existence 15 years. It's actually from a vision I had, about 30 years ago. Um, so it's good. I mean, we're adding more all the time. Like you, we're a global board. I have a member from India who's actually at a big conference in Brazil at the moment. I've got another one who's at a conference in Great Britain. So we're pretty diverse and spread out. We had pulled in for a while, only because things were in such disarray. But for the last year and a half, we've been really functional again. So yes, we could probably play a role and join up in some way. Jerry, I think he'd be able to come and do some of this. Do we have any funding for this
I mean, what would your, I mean, depends on what you're talking, how
to
much you're
help
talking.
to help people get here to
Yeah. I mean, we'll figure that out. Absolutely.
okay. And same thing, we'll probably, I mean, I'm thinking of Ruben as a dancer. Ruben is Hopi and his family, and they always want some compensation to come too, because he'd bring his family and they'd be the great if he's willing, and I would approach him. I have no problem with that. Um, and yeah, a table would be great because they're also all artisans.
Right.
Jerry is a Hopi storyteller, and I talked to him a little bit last night. We had a podcast, and then we spoke a bit, and he would be willing to share some of the Hopi prophecies because he's been given a lot of them, and some of them he has not shared yet. So some of those he might be willing to bring out at this. Again, well, this will take a lot more discussion, but I'm just telling you the little bit with the little time I had
Right.
that we've talked about. I've got other people who are interested. I'm sure there's still others who can make this happen. We have another big event we're working on in Oregon, which is where Jerry is. They're setting up a place there. Another friend in California near Yosemite, Jose. So there's a lot of this going around, and we're trying to connect them all.
Right.
The word you said is bridge. I've been a bridge for 50 years, so I'm
Yep.
getting tired of the footprints on my back. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's important. The stories are not being lost yet, but they're at risk. Some of the teachings are. We've lost way too many elders in the last couple of years, way too many. And I know we've been trying to find a way to document them, and we have some of them through some Lakota people, um, but we're not doing a good job of that. So I think a critical piece of this and any event that we put on is fully documenting it in multiple ways because we don't know what technology is going to be available when we get through this.
Right.
Um, there might be enough time. It would take a little more funding probably, but I could approach the Kogi and see if they would send a contingent. They probably would. If you know the Kogi.
Not familiar
Oh,
now.
okay. So the Kogi are up in the mountains in Colombia. When the Europeans started to come, they all went up way high in the mountains. So they're one of the least impacted cultures on the planet. And they're known as the premier, um, what's the right word? Story carriers, visionaries. They're going out there now. Some of them are going to be here in a couple months, but they're going out there now around the world to connect up to sacred spots, which,
Okay.
obviously Sedona is one of them. And people listen to them, so they would be great. They're kind of a global equivalent of the Hopi. That's how I see it anyway.
Okay.
So we could sure do that. Um, are you going to stream this in any way so people around the globe can participate, or are you seeing a
I mean, we do have that capability. It's a matter of what's you know, everybody's comfortable with, right? I know that I was warned that some don't like to be videotaped.
Mhm.
So I want whatever it is needs to be respectful, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and we
and,
simply what we've always done is you just turn off the cameras if you have somebody that says no.
okay. I
There's
mean,
less of that going on now because a lot of us who've been doing this for a lot of decades realize,
Emily, do you have anything you could add in on that? Emily's been on Gaia TV and so forth.
Yeah,
So
it's just so beautiful to be here. Thank you all for just sitting together today. So I'll just say the power of these conversations, so important. I'm seeing more about myself, my own story more clearly. Jim and Michelle, to give you some background on me, my area of expertise is in the Akashic Records. So I have training to teach people how to access and use them at a very high level. So, Zach, when you were sharing that, as a young child at 5 years old, you're connecting with this realm, yet you don't have guidance and education on how it works. I'm like, fuck, that's why I'm here. Pardon my French. I also spent 20 years in Hollywood as a professional storyteller. So I grew up small town Missouri. I quit life in Missouri and moved to Hollywood when I was 19, and was part of that world for 20 years, just training in story and the importance of story and the inspiration and how it guides consciousness. We think the leaders of the planet are the government leaders. No, it's the storytellers and it's the entrepreneurs. Storytellers because we're setting the boundaries of imagination and what sensitizes us, what desensitizes us, where we remember our truth. Like this is so important. And then, entrepreneurs, visionaries, we're creating services, products, opportunities for people to come together, to gather, to bring this energy back on the planet. And I'm just like, my heart's overflowing, being in the presence of other great visionaries and devotees to this work and all the ways that we're devoted to it. I also just love to quickly add what brought me into this space with Zach and Isha is in my own work training visionaries and thought leaders how to read the Akashic Records. I also take them into Mount Shasta for advanced activation using the stargates there to align to their mission. And I've done that for 6 years. This past year, I did have a documentary film crew come to film the experience. And of course, as storytelling does, it reveals itself in the moments. And it was very easy for me to recognize that this documentary it's not about Mount Shasta, it's not about the Akashic Records, it's about the codes of the new earth and where they're flowing in and how they activate us. And we had experiences with the Mayan timekeepers there and did sacred ceremony with them to collapse some timelines that are preparing us to step into the new earth. So yeah, that feels like my monologue of what I want to share. And thank you for letting me be a part of how all of your work in your lifetimes we get to have this cross section in this moment. Fuck, it's a great
Jim,
honor.
Good. So
this
that,
is what I
yeah,
could this is what I could tell you is that the conference is definitely live streamed. If there's somebody that you have that's a spectacular speaker and wanted to have time on that stage, I'm sure that I could talk to Rion about that, and that definitely will be live streamed there. Live streaming out at the park might be a little more difficult. I mean, recording it and then making sure that we
yeah,
have it shown is what we could probably do is have record it and then attach it to his conference footage that he later sells out later, right? So there's definitely avenues, right? It depends how much money we can gather up and what we want to do and what everybody's comfortable with.
That's
I'm
also part of why I'm
so
here is
let's,
to make sure that we can all create funds and are covered and that there's, prosperity for us as we're going through. So we'll figure that out. Yeah.
yeah,
and
so that's good. Let me follow up on what Emily was saying
yeah.
because yeah, it's an interesting point there. When we do these things, it's always okay, how do we mix the different pieces? And I have a lot of friends that work in the way Emily does. I have in the past. My thumbnail sketch is I'm a mongrel. I'm primarily Romany Gypsy. My grandmother was a medicine woman in Europe and Native American, and my tribe is Lenape back east. Only because I didn't have enough blood percentage to my probably my blood is Apache. So I'm a mix, and a lot of people who come, we just would have to talk carefully. How does this work? Because they would be really about telling the real stories. They are tribal people. They are, and I've spent years and years. I didn't know I had this mixed blood until I was 40 because my family lied about what we were, as many did back then. They didn't want to be painted as something else. They were already immigrants. So, yeah, we'd have to have some talk between tribal people and things like Emily, what you're talking about. Luckily, here in Sedona, we can usually blend them. Okay, but yeah, you would get. I'm sure you would get questions like, okay, where did you learn your skills? Who are the elders you worked with? Who are the
Hmm.
people you went out there? And either you have an answer or you just say, hey, I worked whatever. There's no right or wrong. Trust me, as somebody who entered this years ago, and Michelle knows because I knew her just earlier on in what I did. I got quizzed all the time because I present as white. You can't really tell I'm a mixed person. So we would have to make sure that's understandable. And people like Ruben, to get Ruben to commit, I'm sure he would do it because he loves to do that sort of thing and present his culture. To get Jerry to come and tell the stories, he knows it's time now to share some more of these stories, as do I. And I'd be willing to share some of the Lenape. I'm adopted Lenape as well, um, and
Uh,
possibly the Mayan as well.
Can you
ooh,
give me a little
and I
background
do
on Jerry?
Zach, well, go
Yeah,
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Yeah,
Jerry
go ahead.
is,
Well, I wanted to introduce myself. We already spoke in the chat briefly. Hi, Jim. Hi, Michelle. Nice to meet you. I am Isha, and as you can see in the title, along with my name, I'm very much one of my missions is to convey unified science and spirituality, which I feel it's very much what the shamans, what the tribes, the indigenous tribes are doing, and we're mainly doing, which is an unified approach of the spiritual world, yet it's all about science. So, yet when you translate it, what you transmit it in a spiritual way, then it reaches at a deeper level for sure, because you're connecting at the soul level. So, having said this, it's very interesting that you're Jim Grey Wolf. I was just talking earlier about someone who just transcended that he was named the White Wolf.
yeah.
So, well, for me, that's something like a very peculiar message. So that's one thing. I feel you both, and I'm very grateful for your presence. We are. I, beyond what I transmit and my mission, I just want to say that as the way of being foundation, one of our main purposes and one of our pillars are the humanitarian projects. And in that avenue, one of like mainly is bring together the indigenous tribes, be that bridge, that platform for their wisdom, their knowledge to rise again. Because the more that I dip into my own path, my path of remembrance, I come to realize the critical and fundamental pillar that ancient wisdom is, and that is fundamental for us not to lose it. Everywhere that I go, I step into the elders. I live currently in Mexico, as Zach said, and my way of approaching to the Mayan knowledge, Mayan cosmology, Aztec, Toltec, and so forth is always through elders because they carry the codes that bring that level of wisdom into this reality. So for me, it's important to respect that knowledge, that wisdom, and to bring that platform in many ways, not just short term inviting you. Okay, yeah, let's do something now. We're talking about long term projects as well that could even involve supporting you to create your community centers to keep on sustaining and supporting the tribes. So we have many ways to grow, many ways to prevail this ancient wisdom, which is not ancient. Actually, we'll call it ancient, but actually, it's very much called to bring it here and now because it's in its purest form, what we need to remember. So, having said this, I love the way that you are telling Jim that you're already thinking about different people from different tribes that could be participating. I love this. I love this because this is what the way of being foundation is unified consciousness. It's all of us coming together because we all are the way of being. So, thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. Let's and I agree with you totally. Actually, my nonprofit is Sanctuaries of the Earth Mother, and our three main prongs are indigenous wisdom from our ancestors, sustainable science, not the destructive science, and Mother Nature as the primary teacher. So we're all, I think we're all in the same ballpark. But you're right. We've got to bring together now. And I was a big part in the virtual end of Standing Rock, and I was there for about a third of the protest. And we saw it happen there. We saw indigenous folks from around the globe show up, but we couldn't even speak each other's languages, but we understood each other. And those are the things that really have to occur now. I couldn't agree more. It's
What do
just
you think the biggest What do you think the biggest hurdle is? It seems like from
yeah.
just from what I've heard from Michelle, is a lot of people have become more reclusive since 2020.
Yeah, some have. Let's work with talking stick and pass it around. When
Okay.
somebody's done, put it in the middle. We'll just have a better.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Michelle's absolutely right. And so I was just going to say one of the big hurdles is we still have a lot of elders who don't want to share. We have a lot of other elders who know it's time, and people like the Kogi, they're critical because they can go to those elders. Everybody knows the Kogi, every indigenous person that I've ever met. Same thing potentially if we had funding, it would take more. We could bring some of the Sami here, who are the indigenous leaders up in the North Country, up in the ends top of Norway and Finland. Um, some of those folks could get more participation for sure. And some of us who have worked with the tribes for years and years, Jerry knows a ton of people. And you asked his background. Jerry is a Menominee from northern Wisconsin, but years ago, and he lived and worked in Sedona for a while and the surrounding areas. He was working with a lot of Hopi people, and some of the elders asked him to start to learn the stories because he's a really good storyteller. And so for years he was learning those stories, some of which he shares. He shares some on our programs and when we do things, some of which he's been waiting. Now he feels like all of us. It's time. There's no time to hold anything back right now. Stick
Uh,
in the middle.
I just want to say something that I hadn't mentioned to Zach or Emily because we haven't been, but now it's I feel it's a perfect opportunity to do so. I just met a filmmaker. He studied in Harvard and he has a PhD in Boston University. So he might be coming to the way to of course the day of being and as well to the conference. So he's very much interested in doing something, like even potentially talking about a documentary. We can talk about that, but why
Mhm.
I'm sharing this right now is that that there are many ways in which this can also be documented. Whether if it's through the very same conference, the Rise of the Guardians, and also beyond the Rise of the Guardians.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people wanting to contribute, so this is very exciting. And yeah, we have already also spoken about the ways that we could support you, as a community, as community wise, so that getting funding and so forth. So yeah, Saf, you wanted to say something, and
Yeah.
I
I mean, so
just
our ultimate goal, right? Like this is kind of just spawned from an invitation, right? And as this has been going on, I see that the idea is that we could take the way of being and travel with it, right? And go to different locations and gather and have ceremony and hold ceremony with elders from around the U.S. and potentially around the world, right? And ultimately, the goal is to start to open the codex, right? Like there's a living codex as we start to unite our blueprints, start to create uh, what is coming naturally, right? We don't have to probably do as much work as we think we do, right? It's more, the collaboration even in these phone calls that is going to make this world change, right? It might spur one of you guys to go do something on your own. Who knows, right? But ultimately, I'm coming as a humble guy. I know I have a lot to learn about the First Nations, and I know that I've been taught certain things that are not right. So uh, that's why I'm going to rely on people like you, Jim, is to help us, right? If that's something you desire, you can have the talking stick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's I have to do some prayer around it and some thought around it, but it seems like it could work. There's a lot of things going on, and it could be part of a lot of us who've done tribal work for years are talking about reweaving a new sacred hoop, and everything each one of us does like this is part of that. So it certainly helps. I don't know, Michelle, would healers being part of this, would that be part of it, you think? A follow-up to what you did so well for so many years? Stick to
Okay,
you.
can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Hardly.
Okay.
You can hear? Okay. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Michelle. I was born in Kentucky. My family came into the U.S. in the 1600s. My dad from Wales, the Morgans. My mom from the Frugers, from the French Canadian. My grandmother was a healer, was Cajun in Louisiana, and was a healer and took care of the Black folks on the plantations. So I come from a lineage that I didn't know of. Also, I carry Waikokamiko tribe in me. The last Indian chief married an English woman, and that would have been one of my grandmothers. So I have like 2% indigenous, which the tribe died out. I've been a nurse since 1984. Was raised strict Southern Baptist in Kentucky, and was called to become a nurse. Worked many floors, the ER, and then I had a vision. I kept having a vision of a grandmother cooking over a stove, and I'd gone into a bookstore, and this book came off of the shelf, and it opened up to the grandmother that I was seeing in my vision. So I put my house up for sale in Kentucky. I have a 6,500 square foot house, got divorced, and took a job here in the emergency here at the hospital. And so I was told to come and hold the light. I didn't know what that meant at that time. So I came here to heal. Been here for 30 years on the reservation, in the same hospital and with the same people around me. So I didn't realize that this was going to turn into a 30-year project for me to be here to sit and learn. So my sister was diagnosed with cancer, and she passed, and we worked as healers together. She was also a nurse. And so I learned to become very empathetic with her disease and her cancer. I got sick with her. I would throw up. I would feel her. I knew the day that she died, an eagle flew over my house and a gentle rain came. And so I've had all of these things like preparing me for what I'm supposed to do next. I have 2 years to retire. After my sister died, I was given another vision to call a gathering of healers. And I put it up on Facebook, and within 3 weeks, we had the gathering. We had hundreds of people show up, and Jim was one of the first ones that showed up that first year. We did drumming circles and amazing connections, people that I'm still connected with. We had people come from all over the world. We had people sleeping on our floors, camping out, didn't know why they were here. They just knew that they had to be here. And so we continued from that journey. I was given a vision to start a 501c, the Gathering of Healers. And for that reason, we wanted to also, I was called to activate children. So I'm a soul activator. So we started the Native American Music Fund because a lot of the kids here relate to heavy metal. And so we decided we took up collections, and we had thousands of dollars show up for us. And we bought instruments for kids. We had keyboards, guitars, and we ended up giving out, I think, maybe 70 guitars and keyboards the first year. And then it evolved into having music workshops once a month. I talked to the museum here, and they gave us free access since I was helping with Native children. They gave me free access to the museum, and we would hold music workshops, and everybody volunteered their time. We fed the kids, we kept them all day, and we would give every child an instrument, whatever they wanted to play. I just put it up on Facebook, and the money would flow in. Instruments would show up. Anything I asked for. During COVID, we needed food. My garage turned into a food market. People would come by and do drive-bys, and we would put boxes on my bench outside my door. So we had contactless gifting. So we kept a lot of people alive during that time. And so it's been a very hard struggle here. I do work with the medicine people here. We have 2 medicine men and 2 medicine women here in the hospital that provide services for our hospital. So we have hogans here on the facilities where we can do ceremonies, and we also have sweats, and we have a adolescent child behavioral center here, and we house about 10 kids for 90 days to get them back in to do teachings. So I do have access to the medicine people here. They respect me as a nurse and also as a healer. I'm a Reiki master, and I do alternative, and I do heart healing also with harmonics. So they sit with me. They look at me as probably like an equal partner, where the men and women are very separate here. The women they're respected, but the men hold the hierarchy of the teachings and carrying the healing. The women kind of take a back burner. But for me, I go into the Hogan, and I can sit beside a medicine man, and they speak with me one-on-one as an equal, or to ask me questions, or, how do you do that? So it's a different life for me here as a medicine person, because they respect me as a male, female, kind of a non-denominational healer. So I guess, and they can't explain what I do, but when they get ill, they'll call me and go, "Hey, can you work on me? Can you do distant healing? Can you scan me? Can you tell me what's wrong? Can you remove something?" There's a lot of wisdom that I've gathered here. When we did the gatherings, we would have everybody go to the Hogans here, and they would do ceremony for everybody that came for the gathering. So we have a lot of people around that are asking me, when are you going to do the gathering again? It's become unsafe here for non-natives to be here, and I don't feel comfortable hosting the event here because of that negativity. COVID has really amped up fears here, and they really do not want outsiders. So that's what we're kind of dealing with here. I kind of go under the radar. I try to keep my mouth shut, and just kind of, which is hard for me to do sometimes. Jim knows that. but it's a very protective game we play here, is to protect our elders. Many of the medicine men, the elders that have passed, they had visions of me coming, and they called me the White Witch. And they knew, they go, we knew you were coming. And they would sit, and I would be called to their bedside as they're dying, here at the hospital. So that's kind of my story and where I'm at. I love working with the children, but doing the soul activations. I do a soul to soul activation with eyes. And kids will show up at my house, that are disturbed, and we work with them. My husband also is a public health nurse, and he's here to support me and anchor me. And he's the reason he came back to Kentucky. He said he got divorced. He was my charge nurse. And he said he fell in love with me. He knew that I was a soulmate the first time he saw me. He was my charge nurse at Baptist in Kentucky. And he said he saw me in the garage, the parking garage. And I go, oh, you must be our new charge nurse. And so he instantly fell in love with me. And he knew that he needed to bring me back to the reservation. So he came to get me and bring me here. He was here before up in Kayenta, which is up close to the Hopi mesas. And he worked there 5 years prior to coming back to Kentucky to get me and then to bring me back to the reservation. So that's kind of where I am.
Thank you for sharing. Now you're on the Navajo reservation?
I am on the Navajo reservation, and we are at Window Rock, which is the Navajo capital.
What do you think? Is the fear all based around getting sick and dying? Is that what their fear is, or is it something deeper?
I think it's deeper. It's DNA, genetic coding that needs to be shifted here, and they're just not ready. We still don't have a lot of water and electricity here. They don't want infrastructure. They don't want to, we're having problems just getting them with a telephone. They want to have the telephones and stuff, but they don't want to build like industry. It's poverty here. There's a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, and they don't see a hope, and it is hopeless here. Kind of, it's dreary, it's dirty, it's not healthy for the young kids. There's a deep negative energy. They still do a lot of witching around here. They do a lot of negative witching back and forth, and that I've seen that. Yes.
So that could potentially be one of the hardest things to bridge. Then is the fear, which is clear all around the world right now. Is half the world's going one direction, the other's going another, right? And I mean, I guess that's the thought behind these gatherings, is that, and that was what I found with the original Day of Being, was that was during 2021 when everybody was still locked down at home, and you had a certain portion of the population that was dying for connection, right? And they literally drove 3 days to find it, right? And I think that is kind of the beauty of a gathering, right? Is that it gives people some hope, right? And possibly an exit out of their darkness, right? And I think that's the beauty of our connection, right? And I think that if you're already doing it, we're doing it, and it only makes sense that we do it in a bigger fashion, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be bigger, but in a fashion that's going to ripple further, right?
Are you done, Zach?
Yeah.
Aho. You say aho, and then
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh.
Emily, you were next.
yeah, I just wanted to. I feel like it's an important part of the conversation, Zach. I think it's great that you asked that question. What is at the root of the fear? Is it just bringing in sickness, illness, for example, COVID? And here's where my mind extrapolated. I think it's important to remember. like the white man, we brought cholera in and wiped them out. So there's generational uh, healing, like we're talking like deep ancestral stuff, and it goes all the way back to Atlantis, Lemuria. I mean, look at the conflict there was staying in in divine timing with nature, and not bringing in all of this technology that infiltrates. And I can see where like boundaries, the firewalls are it's self-preservation for the integrity of the story. The story holds the codes, right? And so just being really mindful of what is being dealt with here as we all walk this path is really important. And that feels complete. Oh, yes, Jim.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna stick to you, Jim.
So, so yes, it's much simpler than that, even Emily. Michelle's got it. And it's even more than that though, too. There's fear, there's anger, there's hatred, there's things remembered, and it's part of what we have to excise, and it's part of what we are now globally as we see things play out. I mean, look what's happening in our country, and that's playing out around the globe. It's not just here. So it all has to be worked on, and it's not easy. Um, when as you're talking about, we tried to kill off all the native people. We've done that with others. My Romani people in Europe, three-quarters of them were killed before some of my ancestors got here. And it's easy to go into that hatred. What we have to do is keep spreading the light because at some time in history, each and every one of our cultures has been the abuser and the abused. It has shifted. Nobody has been, the pure white snow for damn sure. So I think that's what we're doing. I really do. We're standing up now. I've been working a lot in my group and through my podcast, and Michelle hit it again, hope. There's such a lack of hope out there, and that's generating some of the fear, which then turns into anger. And and we've got to provide that there's so much to hope about. Things like this we're talking about today. These provide hope. Things we're seeing change around the globe already provide hope. People are standing up in a way they never did. It's not going to be easy yet. We still have prophecies tell us we still have a good piece of the road to go that's rocky, but we're in the up flag now. Phoenix took us down. It's burned everything to the ground pretty much. So now we're just slowly trying to get that garden going and redo it. And if we can do some of that, that's just awesome. And I hear Michelle, and I feel the difference. I have a lot of friends on uh, in Dene, um, and when I go in there now, it can be harder at times to connect. I still do, and of course I do with my friends. But when I'm in the common places, it's harder than it used to be, and I get it. And what's the old saying? Things uh, darkest time is before dawn. I really think that's where we are. My friend comes down here a lot who lives in Canyon de Chelly, and we do work together. And we talk about this a lot because we're trying to understand, okay, how can we bridge this now? There's still broken bridges we need to build. So to me, if this event and the connecting of our groups, because that's critical, we have to all be connected. Nobody can be a lone wolf anymore. It's not going to work. As somebody who was a lone wolf for a lot of years, I can attest to it. We got to be working in circle. So if it can do some of that, then it's a really worthwhile project, in my opinion. My little piece. Stick in the middle. Zach, I think it's in your court again.
Uh, so my thought is right. So there's five of us here that have this vision. What we're kind of lacking is the elders of the First Nations. How do we extend invitations to seats at this table? and who could we extend it to that might actually say yes?
To sit at this table now or to be at the event or both?
Both. I mean, I think that I think the event. I don't. The way I've always looked at the day of being is it's not a day for me to plan. It kind of unfolds naturally. I think that this event should equally be their right to have say in how it looks as well, right? Not for me to invite you to my event. It's why don't we create something together, right? So that we can actually honor their cultures rather than try to continue the same shit that's gotten us here.
Yeah, I hear you.
Together that's just for artifacts, like art.
Isha, what's going on?
I think
She's on mute.
yeah, I think she was on her phone and it just,
No, I'm here, guys. I'm sorry, I'm listening, but I'm
that's
sorry.
cool.
I put this. I'm sorry. I am in currently 2 meetings. I couldn't postpone one.
Yep.
So, but I'm doing my best to be present in both of them because both of them are super important to me. Thank you.
Respect to you, sister.
Thank you. To you too. To you too.
You know, we can invite people. Okay, here, I'll throw the first monkey wrench in for you. Why not like 3 days? Why one day?
Well, the only reason why it's one day is this is and in Florida we did 2 days, so it's it's more than one day hypothetically. And the fact is that Rion's conference is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were going to be Monday, and then Tuesday we're going to do quote unquote VIP ish event, right? Where we would do something like sweat lodges, and like a vortex tour, something along those lines, right? But I'm not against anything, right? Whatever flows, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to invite tribal people to come, they're not going to come for one day. The Hopi might, any Dene might, but other than that, no. Give them a place to set up camp, and then we dig into this. For them to come from a distance for just one day. And a big part of work when you work with the people is going into council. So doing things in circle, having times we can have, like you're saying, we can have a drum circle for sure. I can bring the big drum, and we have lots of drums in the area here. I mean, things that would build on what we're doing. Michelle, what did you used to do? 3 days, 4 days? I can't remember.
We did 3 full days, and then
Yeah.
we had the big we did a hiking tour down to Canyon de Chelly, and then in the morning early, and then once the hikers were back, we had threw a big house party at the house at the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
house, and we'd have bands and everybody drink and party and like let off steam. And,
Yeah.
and that's the best time is because you've been with each other for 3 or 4 days and you've connected. And so now you can okay, now we can release, we've done our spiritual work. Now it's time for us to have a good time and to come in, as a collective to, be a family, to eat together, to drink together, to listen to music. We would have dancers come. We had, native traditional kids come and dance in my backyard. They
Mhm.
just, show up in their feathers and, they're dancing in my yard. And people are like, how do you pull that off? And it's like, well, my house is always called the big house. And we always throw big parties. And, we've had people from Hollywood. We've worked with Donnie Carey down he's a writer there in Hollywood. And we took our kids over and they played in his backyard when he did his carnival. So it's a beautiful way especially for children to perform. We would have our performers from our music workshops. We would set up an amp and mic, and they would play and sing. They're not the best, but it put them on the stage and put them in front of a crowd with, people that loved them and supported them, no matter what. And so it was always a good closeout for an event, is, you know, to have a party and to have, you know, people sit around and talk
Yep.
and just connect.
It was like a week-long thing because I can remember
Yes.
going. I remember going a day or two early and
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's if you want to do a 1 or 2 day, I think the difference is, Zach, you can get some local native people. Nothing wrong with that. We have some great people here. If you want people to come in from different tribes and cultures, it's going to have to be extended because they look for things like Michelle. That's common for indigenous people. So when you're having these sorts of things, it's part celebration, it's part connection, and it goes way back because that's the way it's been done for generations.
You know, it goes to sheep butchering and pig roast, and,
Yep.
you know, it's all day event. You get up and like, let's butcher a sheep and cook. But, but I don't eat sheep. I don't like sheep.
No, I don't either.
But
The question I have for you, if you were to try to do that in Sedona, where would you do that, and where would you house everybody?
Yes,
Right, that's the
it
hard
can
part,
be.
right?
Well, it can be done. You'd have to start working on it. We used to do. My nephew Adam Yellowbird did Gathering of Ancestors. Jerry and I were both part of it. Michelle, I don't know if you were at those or not. Yeah, no. And people had to be in different places. One big one was Dead Horse State Park in Cottonwood. And they went in and just reserved all the campsites. It's a big park with a lot of campsites. So you'd have to talk to different, I think that's Forest Service, whatever you'd have to talk to who's in charge. So, and there's other places like that. There's a great campsite off right near Sedona, off Upper Red Rock Road. I was just there a couple days ago, and they like us, so we could connect with their um, people in charge and see about reserving that whole place. It can definitely be done. It would be scattered. There's no one place all those people are gonna, depending on how many come. But Michelle's right, and I think something like this, it's why we're working on other ones too. There's a huge need for it right now. Huge need. We are starting to come together. I mean, here, where I am, I've been at some meetings recently, which I'm standing next to, and if you didn't know, I'm fairly liberal. You know, I'm very liberal. So, and I've been in the resistance of things since I was a kid. I've been standing next to ultra conservative people, and we actually are able to talk and agree on some things. Not on everything for sure, and our priorities are totally different. But right now, people need reasons to come together and share.
I agree. Michelle, what is your suggestion at this point? Would you say from your side?
I would say you're going to have to run a couple of days, I would think. Um, I usually organize the event all by myself here, and we would run 3 or 4 different rooms. We would rent the museum, which is a huge, and it has an auditorium that holds 160 people. And we would pack the place, but we would split up into 3 or 4 different rooms and have different speakers, kind of like a big event. It was a big event. So I don't know, you know, how you want to play yours. Are you doing inside rooms, or are you doing, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the day of being, what we were planning, it's always been an outdoor event. So we rented a large pavilion at the Crescent Moon Park. And typically what we do is we do some type of ceremony. We do at the last one we did the Stargate activation, then we cleansed in the ocean, and it basically uh, allowed people to step into their higher selves, right? So that would be, a similar goal. It has a river right there that you can do it sitting right underneath Cathedral Rock, which is a beautiful backdrop. But if we're going to do something bigger than that, we'd have to find a different location, I'm sure, right? And I don't know Sedona that well. I mean, I'd have to be relying on others. And this location was suggested by 2 or 3 people that live in the area, right? They said that's the issue with Sedona. There's no real big meeting areas, right? I think there's one area, it's like a pavilion in town.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, I don't know if that really gives you a feeling of being in nature, more like a park, right?
It's a park. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that would be the hard part of that, right? Is
Mhm.
and Sedona is not cheap, right?
Those of us who live here can absolutely guarantee you that.
Yeah.
It's not
So,
cheap.
you know, the reality is that Sedona is very sacred ground and it's been commercialized, right? So, it would be amazing to have people come back and respect the land, right? That would be an amazing opportunity.
Uh-huh.
I just don't know how we do that, right?
I don't know. I think you just have to decide on who you want to talk to and how you want to present it. For here, the weather was always an issue because in like May, the
Yeah.
winds are here. And so we have, that's why we always had an indoor backup because we were, one day we were getting ready to do the drum circle and it was raining. And it's like, okay, we're just going to shift it to another day. Then we're going to do it tomorrow instead of today. And, the weather is a big factor here. So
Would that be the same as Sedona?
No, not really.
May, you should be okay, I would
Yeah,
think.
should be pretty good in May.
But
Actually,
you just never know.
nope. Nope. Never know for sure.
Can I jump in here, guys?
Yep, go.
Well, I have about 5 more minutes I can stay on the meeting and then I want to hop
Oh,
off.
Sorry.
Zach, I feel really strongly that we're talking about two separate events here. We're talking about like what we're looking for in the day of being is more a participation of a piece of it because you've got Isha and myself and Tone and Rion who also want to take part in the crafting and the activation of what's happening there. I
Right.
think we've got a bigger 3-day event here that could potentially be the opening event for Rainbow Ridge and would be incredible to bring more people in. I think that's a conversation that we can have outside of this if you're open to that. But that's what
I
I
agree.
think. We've got two separate events here. We want to get the most potent storyteller possible that can come in for the activation for the day of being and bring through that transmission that wants to participate with us. And then I feel like this more integration opportunity for people into the indigenous ways that's going to allow us to experience counsel. It's going to allow us to experience leadership, the story, the the ritual, the ceremony of like sweat together, of coming together as family. That needs to be built out and honored separately. I don't know that it's a right fit for what we're doing in Sedona and
Right
May.
now.
Yep.
Right. I probably tend to agree. So, Jim, she
yep.
mentioned Rainbow Ridge. That's my property that I have up in the mountains of Western Maryland. So,
Where at?
you ever heard of Deep Creek?
Oh yeah,
We're
I'm
you know
from
where,
Pennsylvania, so yeah.
you know where Swallow Falls is?
Mm,
Well,
yeah.
we have 900 feet of the Youghiogheny River
Okay.
front there that
Cool.
my wife and I are stewards of the land, and it was shown to us 3 years ago that it's sacred land, and right now we're building some geodomes up on the property, and the hopes are is to have retreats and hold space up there.
Great.
So when she says Rainbow Ridge, that's what she's
Okay.
discussing. We have
Good.
50 acres up there, and it's a nice area. And it would be a cool place to invite people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys, that I had to be absent for a while, but
No.
I was taking care of something in another meeting, and I am kind of aware that what was spoken in the meantime, and whatever I am not fully aware, I will be checking in with and Zach.
Yeah.
as soon as I joined, Emily was talking about the activations and so forth. When I introduced myself, one of the things that I have I have more experience on about is how the energy can work, and I think we all, we all do. But when we're talking about activations, and then before, doing that intro of that storytelling, prophecies, and so forth, and then opening, like a Stargate or doing an activation, we are already planting seeds at a very powerful level. So, yeah, I just wanted to comment on that, I think we can truly create like very powerful things, co-create very powerful things. I think this is meant to be. I feel this is imminent, restoring the traditions, the culture, the wisdom, knowledge, and so forth from the indigenous tribes. And one thing that really touches my heart, and I can see that it touches you all as well, is when I see these indigenous tribes that have been left aside, that are now very vulnerable, are vulnerable communities that, due to the power that they have been drastically manipulated. So, holding that space for them to rise, for me, makes me feel very passionate,
Mm.
makes me feel that this has more sense, makes me know that humanity has a hope, because then when we see how they delivered at that moment, we can see that that is where we are heading to, so for me, honoring their codes, honoring what they have been through, honoring the fact that it's time to move on into this unified field, is actually also offering the space for them to express. And we know that as this is meant to be, everything will be coming together. So I just wanted to
Mm.
say that I know that you have gone through the logistics. I will catch up, in detail with the logistics. Um, yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening.
So if it's going to be a 1 day, then you'll have to rely on mostly on indigenous people here. I could ask Jerry if he's willing to fly in for 1 day. He might be, because I'll ask him. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. One thing we run into here, those of us who are local, um, what's a good way of putting this? There's some good people we can get to bring these messages. And if it's a lot of outside people coming, that's really cool. If it's local people who come, it's like, oh yeah, Yuquawa's going to give that talk. Hell, we already know what he's going to say. Or Ruben's coming with his family. Oh yeah, how many times have we seen that? And that's not to judge; they're awesome. But it's like we've seen and heard all these people, and we meet with them all the time, which is a very
Right.
different, very different. But again, if you're bringing in a lot of people from elsewhere, it's not as big an issue.
Yeah, I mean, everybody will be, I would say 90%, 95% would be coming from out of Sedona area.
Hmm.
Um, when you agree, Isha?
I'm sorry, when do I agree?
No, I said, do you agree? Probably about 5% coming from out of the area, I would think.
Yes, yes. I'm sorry, you were cutting out. I don't know if it was me. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, my signal's not very
I
great.
agree. Actually, from the area, and also, like I'm already bringing a lot of people, like from all United States, that will be going to the conference, and they will also be staying for the day of being. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Now that's it. That's the other thing is whoever wants to come down can and has products that they want to sell. Riona is going to give tables at the conference, which is a good space to sell products, right?
Yes, yes, it absolutely is. Like um, it would be like not only the fact that perhaps we can talk about, like the way that you would be getting to the conference, yet the fact that if someone has a table, it's mostly guaranteeing that they will be capable to sell their products and also get some profit for their own, you know, um, for yeah, for being there, So that's table. So we have table, we have potential, like talking about how you will be getting there, and also the media, potential documentary. We have been talking about yeah, like the long term, like we are putting all this project together about helping through the humanitarian projects pillar to further, like at some point, creating or offering these means so that the tribes can create their community centers. So, but on short term, yes, tables, and that's a good profit.
What's
So
your thoughts, Jim?
where can we find out more about that part of the?
Um, I'll put it into the group right now.
Okay, good.
About the conference, you mean?
Yes.
Right now, they are still putting things together. There
Okay.
are just a few of us that will be speaking. There will be more speakers to be add on.
Hmm.
And yeah, so just that that the content is still being
Yeah, no, that's
generated.
fine. That's fine. But it's yeah.
We're going to be at the
Performing Arts Center.
yeah, exactly, which is, like it's a big place and it's a beautiful one. It's a very important one in Old Sedona, one of the biggest ones. So it's an amazing place. A lot of
Which
people attend
which
this.
one? Which center?
At the school, the Performing
Communitarian
Arts Center.
Center. Yeah, Arts Center. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, last year, no, this year. I continue saying last year. Time is
It feels like it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But like in the beginning of this year in March, it was amazing. It was beautiful. And now we are expecting even more people. Like tickets will be sold out for sure. So a lot of people
I'm
with
dropping the link.
level of consciousness that will be supporting a lot our mission, your mission. Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if Zach mentioned
That
this,
open?
yet the day of being
No. Oh,
brings
here it
such
is.
a powerful energy, such a powerful energy that if it's like, you will experience it
Mhm.
by yourselves. It's such a powerful energy, such a powerful energy. And it's very interesting that you said that this Ruby is in Oregon. Is that so? Ruby or Jose? Who did you
Oh,
say?
oh, Jose is in California.
But you mentioned something about Oregon,
That's
right?
Jerry Maynard, black-tailed deer. Yeah.
They did recently this year a gathering of many tribes together, right, in Oregon.
Yes. And we're working on a big one for this coming.
Were you there at that
I
one?
was not there. We started working with them a few months ago, and Jerry's up there now. They just acquired, I don't know, 60 acres or something. So similar to what Zach was saying, we're setting up a place where ceremonies and gatherings can happen. And it's out in the woods a bit. So as things go crazy, it's got more protection.
Well, you can also, we have still until May. If so, you can also be, talking about that in the table,
Mhm.
if you have a table, like, and sharing with people that you're creating that and giving you more exposure as well.
Yeah, and we're working on a whole community thing here in Sedona as well. There's a
Beautiful.
lot going on.
I
How can we
know.
help you?
Do you have $20 million? We have some land we want.
Well, we were promised 65 million and it fell through. What land are you looking at? The center out there?
No, there's a big piece of land here, about 300 acres. We're working with 7 or 8 different groups here to set up. My vision for Sanctuaries of the Earth Mother was this place where all these things could happen. People could live, we could have ceremony, blah, blah. What I never saw was it's not one property. So this would be multiple properties. So we have a property now where they're growing food, and there's another property. I do ceremony up here. So this bigger property could be a place where people could live, but also where there could be um, events. And we're even looking at end of life things. It could be a place where returning the bodies to the trees type thing. So it would be, but it's a big piece. It's 300 plus acres, and Oak Creek goes right through it. So they're looking to get a lot of money. Like you said, nothing's cheap here.
Well, I know that we had some guys that were trying to buy the performing art. What is it? The performing arts center? No, not the.
No, no.
What's that building called? Is
The only thing that I remember is the 333. The number of the property is 333. That's
Are you talking about
yeah.
the Enlightened Center
yeah.
that's the one that what's her name used to have, and then it was being
It was
sold by
owned
her husband.
by a woman for a
Yeah.
while, and then yeah.
Yep. Her husband came in and kind of sold it out under it wasn't yeah. That was the Sidonia place. She still owns that. Interesting.
Michelle, did you have something to say?
Yeah, Michelle, hop in.
Yeah, did you need, I could talk to our medicine men here. Are you needing an opening prayer done or a native opening for the events? Or do you need, dancers?
So,
I could probably get those too.
we need dancers. Rion said he wanted like a team of like 5 or 6 dancers if you could get it.
Yeah.
And I know he said he was talking about putting people up maybe in a Airbnb or something if they did that, or hotels or whatever. Right? It depends on what we can get aligned. He'd really like. I mean, the idea would be to book and, the events, something really amazing to set the tone going into his, and then followed up by so down in Florida we were connected to another conference and it worked out well because everybody gets to the conference and they and knowledge and then they kind of are overwhelmed. So the day of being acts as a place to integrate and be with soul family, right? And in a in a fashion that they can relax, right? So it works out well. So we could have somebody come in, this is, literally just an idea, right? It doesn't have to be the Hopi prophecy. The Hopi prophecy is the thing that people around the world know about, right? That I think is a good uh, uh, way to dream now, right? There's a significant change that's occurring, and it's been talked about for a long time. I think it's an important story, and then even more so, not just that something you know significant is coming, but that there's something of the light that's and that would be the ultimate goal is to book in these events with something that's powerful and ancient, right?
Yes,
Am I
exactly.
here?
Yeah, you're cutting out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
for
My
For
signal's really
ours,
bad.
yeah, for ours here, we do an opening circle where we have everybody stand around in the circle. And then we had the curanderos come. I'm connected with them over in Albuquerque with some tribal women there. And they would come over and they would bless everybody in the circle before we started. And, it was an outside circle, and then had someone drumming, but also they were blessing and smudging everybody before they went into the event to start. And then our opening prayer was done at that time, to kind of, put people into a respectful place. Prayer, we open everything with a long prayer, and they're long. They go on and on and on. Sometimes they
You
just don't
gotta,
shut
you
up.
gotta set guidelines. Yep.
You got to
Wait,
suffer through prayer a little bit.
uh,
But
I mean,
but it
uh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing, right? Like I'm here to learn as much as I am anything, right? Like this is new to me. So whatever's respectful to whoever wants to give us their time, right? There is also the possibility if somebody has workshops or anything that they want to do, um, eh, he has classrooms that will be available that whoever wants to host the workshop can charge a fee, and invite people in. And I know that in his last one, there was guys that were making 15, 20 grand doing that. Um, I don't have enough to say to warrant any expense like that, but there's opportunities for people to, even if you wanted to do it for free. I'm kind of the guy that, I don't like to charge people for the day of being's always been free. And that's the way I kind of roll. And probably the way that I'll always roll. Right? I just think that I'm here to do service to others, right? And that's the way I'm going to be.
Um, I was thinking an option, and great that you mentioned that, Zach. That's very important, actually, that they can be offering, like even perhaps like a talk, other, because there are many prophecies, there are many things to be shared. So, and,
Mhm.
like doing a donation, whoever joins to the talk, or if they want to charge you, like in a specific fee or want to work through donations, perfect. We would just need to have, like beforehand, of course, all the details. If someone who's coming, would they be talking about? So then that we can give that information to Rion, and then we can schedule, because there are different people that will be giving workshops so that they don't crash, or are overlapped.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Uh, and
what would be
another
amazing is some. Oh, sorry, good.
Uh, I
Good.
was thinking that now on the day of being, it would be amazing. I don't know if you're going to say the same thing, Zach, but it would be lovely that, like for the introduction, there is a dance, like in a circle of fire. I don't know if that's some of the way that you do it, but or they do it, and then the prophecy, and then the activation, because the field will be so amplified, so amplified. Just putting it on the table, saying that it wouldn't just be one thing, we could be potentially talking about, two participations before the activation.
So talking about the two things now, when you start to look at it as a whole, then you have a longer event. It'll be easier to get other people in. So how long is the conference? Did you say it was 3 days? Is that what I heard you say?
It's 3 days. It's from
Okay.
the
Next
8th
Friday,
to the 10th.
So really now that you're talking about 4 days. If you look at
right?
it as a
Including
as a
the,
right.
yeah.
And that could really work. I mean, if you want to open with fire, then we could approach Jose. He is a Mayan timekeeper, the one out in California. And maybe he would do the fire ceremony, which is a really powerful opening.
Yes,
We
it
can
is.
combine a lot of these things. That's what I really like.
Me
If
too.
if our Dene relatives
Could
come
you do that
down
at the school though?
at the school,
No, I was thinking more for the way of being, for the day of being,
yeah,
you know, the fire at least.
yes.
Yeah.
And they have a space that really works for that.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
what would be a cool workshop is if some of these artisans came and showed their craft and people would love to sit down and see how they're making jewelry or something like that, right?
Possible.
So there's lots of opportunities, right? I
Oh
mean, I
yeah.
think that
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So the next step would be you, Jim, talking to and you, Michelle, talking to the ones that you know to propose this, and
Hmm.
then letting us know how it looks like, who is interested, and once we also take care of the things that we need to take care on our side,
Hmm.
like logistics and so forth. And then we plan on another gathering, on another meeting when we already have those details from both
Hmm.
sides.
so, Jim,
Yeah.
if the local Hopi, would they be if they found out that this guy was telling the Hopi prophecy, would they get upset with this guy or are they comfortable with him?
With Jerry,
Yeah.
Yes.
Jerry was trained by the Hopi. He's been out there sharing the stories for years now.
Okay.
But we could also, I mean, that's Reuben is Hopi, right? He's Hopi, not Dene, isn't he, Michelle? I'm pretty sure he's Hopi.
Yeah, I'm not sure on him. I really
I'm
don't
not
know him.
either. I'm pretty sure he's Hopi.
I think
Uh,
we just kind of deal with see what
yeah,
falls in our lap.
yeah,
You still might find an elder and a Hopi elder that you're comfortable with.
yep,
Zach, that
yep,
somebody once the energy's out there, it'll come.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Okay.
the right stuff will come your way. So I think
Yeah,
just speaking
absolutely.
and putting it out there. I'm going to have to get off this call because I got a luncheon with the PHNs. They're doing a luncheon and they're making enchiladas for today.
Oh,
And
That sounds good.
so
whoa, whoa.
I'm
Hold on, I'm
yeah
coming.
yeah.
Oh,
So I'm
I wasn't
hoping that
invited.
that
I
one
didn't
of the
get the
medicine
memo.
yeah.
some of the medicine people will be there also, so I can speak with them. And I have one
Mm.
in particular I want to talk to, who's
Thank you, Michelle.
he might be willing to come down. And his wife's a medicine woman, and she's like my husband's right hand woman, to go out and see patients. So that might be a good segue into getting some of the Dene people there.
Okay.
Well,
And then that way it opens the door for the next year or the next year for, we slowly infiltrate.
Right.
yeah, yeah.
That's
And
beautiful. I really appreciate you, Michelle.
Yeah. So sending you love. I'm going to go party because, I'm going to
have
take my
fun.
Have
big
fun.
house.
Enjoy. Enjoy. Have a good time.
Say
Thank
hello
you.
to everybody.
So bye guys.
So,
Y'all can keep
Bye.
talking.
Stay
all
low.
right. So Jim, at this point, what do you need from us or what do you need to know? Anything?
No, I mean, this thing's still forming. I hear you. I can chat with various people. There's a lot of people, like Michelle said, we'll just open it up. People will start to show up, I'm sure. If I'm sure my friend Shazay, who lives up in Canyon de Chelly, he's an artist, um, and he's also online. He does a lot of work too. I'm sure he would come. Um,
Okay.
yeah, others will appear. If the Kogi are meant to be here, that would be huge because people who work with indigenous people,
What would they know what would they need to come?
I
Budget.
don't budget wise, if they come, obviously they'd come for the whole thing because it's a bit of a travel. I think it cost I came up with a couple thousand so they could come off the mountain and get all their documents ready and do all that. And then it was, I don't know, a few thousand more for airline tickets. And we had places they could stay, so that was no problem. I can still do that. I can house some here, and there's other people I know who could house some of these folks who come to help with those expenses.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
Mm.
well,
there's the people there we know who I can just go to, and they're who contact them all the time because it's hard to go direct to the Kogi because they're up there and there's not much. They literally travel up the mountain to go talk to them.
really. What
Yeah.
mountain are they on?
Hmm.
Where are they?
Columbia,
Oh, Columbia.
top
Yeah.
of the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they rang a bell to me,
Yeah, you would. Yeah, I'm sure you would. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you can extend an olive branch to them and see if that's something that would interest them,
Hmm.
then we
Hmm.
can you know what I'd like to do is do like a donation based approach. I mean, we have our 508 C1A, which is a church, right? So we can accept donations, and then I mean,
Hey, buddy.
ultimately, that's our goal is to start to spread this to help everybody, right?
Yeah, I'm like you. I do a ton of things for free, but we're starting to do more things now, looking for some funding because we're
Yes.
still in this paradigm, and
Yeah,
Yes.
and to do the work to get out there,
Yeah, and also if you work with the with through the ancient teachings, you know that money is the spirit. You know, it's just information. It
Yep,
depends the purpose
yep.
that you give to it. And when it's to build and construct this type of things, then you're
Hmm.
blessing it. You know, you're making it sacred. So
Hmm.
all
that's
right. Well, what
good.
do you need from us? Anything?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't think much. I'll just start having general conversations, and if we need another time to come together, like you said, that's a good idea. There's a woman, Amber, who's been working with some of our groups, and she put together a number of fundraisers, and they're going to go out there looking to raise money for the various projects. Maybe we'll bring her in. She's in Costa Rica at the moment, but she'll be back. We could bring her in. She'd probably have some ideas too.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
that would be amazing. And as soon as you know who is interested in coming, we would very much appreciate if you let us know. We will already be working on the logistics,
Oh,
what
okay.
what it needs and so forth, so that then we know what we need to take care of. You know, how much can we be providing? So how many people, you know,
Hmm.
to keep it like really grounded, but yet
Hmm.
also because as Zach said, you know, like we will be working through donations, you know,
Hmm.
in many ways. So then we can have
Hmm.
an idea, an estimate of how much we will be needing and when we how what we need to do because we already count with the support of Rion, you know, in many ways. Yet there are also other ways that we will need to move forward, you know, like to create things, to generate things like the donation wise. And so, yeah, as soon as you know how many people could be potentially coming from your side, the groups and so forth, then to cover those type of logistics and then also to talk potentially of how we could be putting all of them together, whether if it's workshops, whether if it's tables, and also for the day of being, you know, how we will be
Hmm.
organizing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it also would help if as far as donation, if we could tell people what they're donating towards, right? So if we are going to have, in fact, have the Kogi come that we said we're trying to fund that, please help, right? And I think people would do it,
Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely.
right?
And the woman I'm talking about, Amber, she and I have both worked with the Kogi, so there's a contact there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I can just come up with there's various people who'd be willing to come for the longer time if they could have a table, like you said, or we do Jerry and I might do a storytelling workshop. We'd be happy
Right.
to do that. each time we do this. We just did one in Taos a little while ago. So yeah, there's plenty of people I think who would come for those things, and there's some local people would probably would want to get involved as well.
I mean,
Yes,
clearly the local would be the easiest, right? I mean, it would
exactly.
be, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
if there's
and
some
there's
if there's some heavy hitters out there, like, yeah, it would be cool, it would be great, right?
yeah, yes, yeah. No, I agree, and there's a lot of people around here, so we can fill a lot of spots that way. But then if you had a couple of, yeah, you're right, a couple of like the Kogi who came, that would bring a whole bunch of visibility,
Right.
or it's similar, to bring in a different prophecy stream.
Yep. That'd be amazing. All right. Well, why don't you work on what you need to work on? I'm here always, and I'll keep checking in with you, and you can check in with me. Um, and I look forward to it. And we appreciate your time. Like it's
Mhm.
exciting that I do see so many people right now with the same feeling, right? That it's becoming reality. All these prophecies are actually
Uh-huh.
coming to
Yes,
fruition, and it's hard. It's pretty impossible not to see it now, right?
For
yeah.
those who are awake and willing to see it, it's very easy to see. For those who don't, that's okay. Not everybody is going to be there at the finish line.
Yep, that's true. Yep,
Yep.
and that's okay.
There will
Yeah.
be another finish line
Yeah.
later.
All part of the
Yeah,
work.
yeah. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you. Yes, it's
Hey,
great meeting
thank
you
you
both.
guys. All right, be good, man.
Thank you, Zach. Talk
Okay.
to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.